You know, one of the big questions after the Trump verdict came down on Thursday was, how is this going to affect 2024? So I knew the guy to bring in, our poll guy, Cliff Young from Ipsos, up late with me tonight on the Final Five. Welcome back, man. Good to see you.
It's great to be here.
Okay, so as soon as the verdict comes down, how quickly do pollsters get on the ground and start getting the pulse of the people?
Right away.
Yeah.
It's a lickety-split. Like, we put 2 polls in the field. We wanted the data as fast as possible, and we got it at the end of last week.
And a very quick turnaround on that. We're getting a sense right now of where things stand, so let's get right to some of the numbers that Ipsos is finding right now. Nearly half of Americans think Trump should suspend his presidential campaign. Well, I mean, if we're talking about a divided country, that shouldn't surprise anybody.
Yeah, it's the tale of two Americas. It's always been the tale of two Americas, at least since we started talking. It's a divided America, and that's where we are. 50% of Americans basically say that the verdict in falsifying business records case was correct. And what we're going to find throughout all the polling is this division.
And on the other side here, where you kind of do the breakdown and you get a sense of where this stands, and the Democrats believe he should suspend it overwhelmingly. The Republicans, very few do. Independents are always the wild card, though, it seems, in election time, where do they have the potential to sway things this time around?
Yeah, they'll have an effect on the margins. They're important. You want to sway them to your side. But I think the takeaway here is divided America. Only 49% of Americans think that Donald Trump should stop campaigning. Yeah. Those 79% of Democrats and 16% of Republicans. Again, a tale of two Americas.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other numbers that you've rounded up on this one. Half of Americans think charges against Trump were politically motivated. Again, not a surprise here.
No, once again, I think the key point here is, 47% of Americans think it's politically motivated, about 50-50 for the sake of argument. And then here, Republicans, 83% of Republicans believe that the verdict was politically motivated. That just sort of reinforces the polling we did before. It's a divided America. Republicans see it in general and the Trump trial specifically differently than Democrats. When
you look at this here, so you have 17% combined on the Republican side, either don't believe it was politically motivated or don't know, versus 35% on the Democratic side there. So there is a bit of it's not an even mirror image of the two numbers there.
No, the Republicans are much more, let's say, loyal to Trump and believe that they're going after him unfairly. You have less, in a relative sense, less Democrats, but still, 64% of Democrats don't think it's politically motivated.
All right,
so a big chunk.
Let's move on right now and take a look at the next batch of numbers, the impact on perception of the criminal justice system. I think this is a conversation that everybody is having right now, not just in well, we're looking at through the prism of this verdict here, but this is the big picture item here next to the election.
Yeah, is the criminal justice system in the United States, the American criminal justice system, fair? And we're very, very divided on it. We see that, on the one hand, 47% of Democrats say, the trial and the verdict will positively impact the criminal justice system from a reputational standpoint. Only 5% of Republicans, indeed 60% of Republicans, look at that number, 60% of Republicans believe that the verdict will negatively impact the perception of the criminal justice system. Again, it's a tale of two Americas, a belief that the system is broken, and that's just reinforced by what happened.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, and we'll take a look now at the favorable opinions of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Unchanged. So here we go, going back to before the 2020 election. So it goes back and forth.
Yeah, and nothing much has changed, right? I mean, this is basically flatlined. Trump's been sort of trailing a bit from a favorability standpoint, but right now, at this moment, at this time, it's basically a 50-50 matchup. They're basically even, tied. 32% of people have a favorable image of Joe Biden, 31% of Donald Trump.
All right, let's take a look at the last batch of numbers here when it comes to the possible impact of the conviction on voting for Trump.
Yeah, we have to be careful here. These are directional, right? And then what do we find? Obviously, Republicans believe or will be much more likely to vote for Trump. Look at much more likely compared to before the trial to vote for him. So there's some sort of positive mobilizing effect of the actual verdict itself. And then ultimately, we look at Democrats, and a big swath of Democrats, 91%, 90%, pre-trial, post-trial, basically say they won't vote for Trump. Again, directional, but really nothing much has changed.
Yeah, it really, especially on the Democratic side, where it's like everybody sort of made up their minds at that point, whereas the Republicans, as you said, it did galvanize the support there. On the independent side, more or less the same?
I would say more or less the same. A little bit on won't vote for him. There was some sort of, let's say, slippage a bit from 21% to 28%. But overall, about 68% of independents say that they would not vote for him.
By the way, so looking at here, the post-conviction poll conducted among 2,556 U.S. adults. That's a pretty big sample.
Yeah, we were able to go to the field and collect a lot of data, have large samples, and once again, we did it in a day.
All right, well, there you go. It's all done, and we talked to you here on the Final Five about it. Cliff Young, good to see you again, man. Thanks for coming in.
It's awesome to be here.
As always, we'll see you back here soon, and we'll see you after this.